Hello, everyone. It's freelance fiction editor Miranda Darrow here, tackling another genre of fiction this month. Last month, we talked about horror, and before that, women's fiction. So check out previous videos posted on my channel. A new month, a new genre. So let's talk about cozy fantasy. We'll have some highlights, tropes, and tips for writers. In the realm of fantasy literature, there's a comfy corner that blends magic and warmth. Welcome to Cozy Fantasy. For readers seeking solace in whimsical worlds, without the weight of high-stakes battles or dark, gritty themes, cozy fantasy offers an enchanting escape. This subgenre focuses more on heartwarming characters, small communities, and the beauty of everyday magic, rather than epic quests or looming threats. Similar to the subgenre of cozy mystery, which has been popular for decades, the cozies take the compelling elements of a genre and sand off the sharp and jagged edges that can tear into the reader's psyche. In cozy mystery, that means no violence on the page, a cozy setting, and a supportive cast around our novice detective. The stakes are lower, the cast is more supportive, and the reader doesn't endure a gutting, dark night of the soul moment. Whether you're a reader looking for your next cozy read or a writer dreaming up your own magical tale, let's dive into what makes cozy fantasy so captivating. Highlights of cozy fantasy include low-stakes adventure. Unlike traditional high fantasy, where the fate of the entire kingdom is at risk, cozy fantasy often evolves around more personal, small stakes. Perhaps the protagonist is trying to save a family business, or help a friend with a magical dilemma, or navigate the complexities of life in a magical town. It's about the journey, not the impending doom. Another feature is heartfelt characters. At the core of cozy fantasy are endearing, relatable characters. These characters might not be warriors or chosen ones, they're everyday people or creatures. They're bakers, they're librarians, witches in training who happen to live in a world filled with magic. Their growth is emotional rather than heroic, offering readers someone to root for on a personal level. Atmospheric setting. The settings in cozy fantasy are charming and immersive. Whether it's a quaint village nestled in the woods, a bustling magical market, a sunny coffee shop built around a living tree, or a cozy candlelit tavern, the world building emphasizes comfort and charm. The environment often feels like a character in itself, inviting readers to step into its warmth and stay a while. Here are some popular tropes in cozy fantasy. Cozy fantasy wouldn't be complete without some beloved tropes. So here are a few that you will frequently find. One is magical communities. Small, tight-knit towns where everyone knows everyone and probably has a secret magical ability. Think of places where witches brew potions in the local cafe, or where the bookstore might have a mischievous spirit among the shelves. Found family is another frequent element. One of the most heartwarming of tropes, found family focuses on an unlikely group of people coming together and creating bonds that are stronger than blood. Cozy fantasy often thrives on the power of community and chosen family. There's also gentle magic. Magic in cozy fantasy tends to be more whimsical and lighthearted. You won't find a whole lot of ancient curses or dangerous rituals here. Instead, expect spells for growing gardens, summoning tea sets, or creating the perfect pie. And let's not forget about animal companions. From talking cats to wise old owls, magical companions are a delightful part of the cozy fantasy genre. They offer guidance, comic relief, and sometimes a little bit of mischief. Additional features of cozy fantasy include the focus on relationships. Whether it's a friendship, familial bonds, or romance, relationships are central in cozy fantasy. Their stories often focus on how these connections help characters overcome challenges, grow emotionally, and create a sense of belonging. There's also often a slice of life. The pacing is typically slower in cozy fantasy, allowing the readers to savor everyday moments of joy. These stories often explore the beauty in simple things, like cooking a meal with a touch of magic, hosting a tea party, or enjoying the changing seasons in a world of enchantment. You'll also find plenty of hope and comfort. At its heart, cozy fantasy offers hope and comfort. Readers come to these stories to feel uplifted, to escape a world where even the challenges are manageable and kindness prevails. Here are some writing tips for cozy fantasy. First, build a warm world. Focus on creating a setting that feels like a place that your readers want to visit, somewhere cozy, inviting, and alive with detail. Think about sensory details, like the scent of fresh bread, in the sound of crackling firewood or the feel of a warm, magical breeze. Second, focus on character-driven stories. Your characters don't need to be saving the world. They just need to be relatable and real. Focus on their internal struggles, relationships, and emotional growth. Weave in whimsy. Infuse your story with a sense of wonder and light magic. The magic in cozy fantasy should be delightful and fun, helping to elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary. Emphasize comfort over conflict. Cozy fantasy isn't about defeating a great evil. It's about navigating everyday challenges with heart. The tension in your story can come from personal growth or community issues rather than epic battles or life or death scenarios. There's some overlap with romantasy, but not completely. Cozy fantasy and romantasy, which is for romantic fantasy, often blend beautifully. Many cozy fantasy stories feature a romantic subplot. After all, who doesn't love a bit of love in their magical adventures? The key difference is that in romantasy, the romance often drives the plot, whereas in cozy fantasy, the romance is just part of the overall story tapestry. In cozy fantasy, the relations tend to be more wholesome and emotionally rich, with a focus on mutual respect and partnership. It's more of a meeting of the minds, often with two characters who struggle against their own internal baggage to feel worthy and of giving and receiving love and support. But for romantasy, the relationships are usually from tropes with a lot more conflict, like enemies to lovers, and the heat level is usually much steamier. It's more like, you're my sworn enemy. I hate you, but you are pretty damn sexy, and I feel like I want to be with you. And for that, I hate you and myself. And our world is going to hell in a handbasket, and we need to rely on each other. So let's get together, even though it may be the death of both of us and everybody that we know. That's the stakes in a romantasy as opposed to a romance in a cozy fantasy. So I encourage you to embrace the magic of cozy fantasy. Cozy fantasy offers a gentle escape into worlds where magic is part of the everyday and warmth is found in community and connection. Whether you're reading or writing in this genre, cozy fantasy is a reminder that magic doesn't always have to come with a high stakes and a huge price. You don't have to make a Rumpelstiltskin steal in cozy fantasy. Sometimes it's found in quiet, everyday moments, the perfect cup of tea, a stroll through a magical village, or the laughter of newfound friends. That's my take on cozy fantasy, but I'm curious, what's your favorite subset of fantasy? Do you prefer the lush world building of high fantasy, the slice of paranormal world in urban fantasy or suburban fantasy? Or are you pining for the high heat levels of romantasy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want to keep discussing all things fantasy, be sure to check out my upcoming content. But until then, remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notifications of my weekly content. Goodbye for now, and happy writing!